Okay, I'm back in Raven Rock. Aha, the captain.
What news do you bring from Fort Frostmoth?
I killed General Carius.
I had my suspicions that he was undead. How else could he have survived for over 200 years? It's a shame. There are quite a few tales of General Carius's exploits, including the founding of Raven Rock.
Well, he'll no longer send Ashspawn to Raven Rock.
Councillor Morvain told me to give this to you if you made it back in one piece. And you got rid of General Carius. Better than a soldier's pay, so you should be thankful.
Did you need anything else from me?
I'm sorry to bother you, but Second Councillor Rano asked me to come find you. He said it's quite urgent.
Really? What did he say it was about?
All he wanted me to do is track you down and send you to him. Look, this is important. Even more important than wiping out the Ashspawn. Please, go speak to the Second Councillor as soon as possible.
Will do, Velith.
If you're looking for supplies, talk to Thetis. He'll set you up with whatever you need.
Keep that in mind. But for now, before selling anything off, I think I'm going to go talk to the Counselor. Wherever he may be located. Hello?
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
After everything you've already done for Raven Rock, I hate to ask for more, but I can't risk Councillor Morvain being killed.
Councillor Morvain being killed? How did that happen?
The Ulan family of House Lalu, a rival great house, has placed a death mark on the Councillor's head.
Well, Arano, I have bad news for you. As I was playing the Nerevarine 200 years ago in Morrowind, I was strongly aligned with House Hlalu, so we might have a bit of a conflict of interests here. Hlalu's interests are my interests. Ooh, geez, this is awkward. Why would Ulens want him dead anyway?
It's a private matter. Let's just say they seek revenge for the execution of one of their own, ordered by Councillor Morvain himself. The problem is I don't have any solid proof that anyone from House Lalu is hidden among us. Only my suspicions.
Wait a minute, he ordered the execution. It's on his head, not yours.
Now that's just ridiculous. As second councillor, it's my responsibility to protect Councillor Morvain from harm. I'm afraid that one day I'll awaken and discover him dead. And I don't want it to come to that.
Okay, you feel an attack on the Counselor is imminent, then?
I do. I've received some information from my sources that there could be elements of Ulan's house, House Lalu, already in Raven Rock.
Why haven't you acted on the information, then?
Raven Rock is a small settlement, so it's hard to accomplish anything in secret. If any of them is from House Lalu, I wouldn't be able to make a move without them knowing.
Okay, well, what will you do then?
Summoning you here was part of my plan. I was hoping you'd be interested in investigating for me.
Okay, well, what is it that you need me to do?
I need you to start out by being my eyes and ears. Search Raven Rock and see if you can root out these traitors. The best place to start would be Geldis Sadri, over at the Retching Netch Corner Club.
Oh, God.
If he provides you any leads, check them out before bringing them to my attention. I can't afford to make any mistakes.
Okay. Well, being aligned with House Hlalu, I probably don't need to ask, but I'll indulge. What else can you tell me about House Hlalu?
Traitors. The lot of them. Their collaboration with the Empire may have given them unrivaled political and economic strength, but their hearts weren't with the Dunmer people.
I presume that was their downfall?
Hlalu deserved every bit of hatred they received once the Empire released its grasp on Morrowind. Having past ties to the Empire immediately turned them into the scapegoat for the Dunmer people's suffering.
What happened to House Hlalu as a result?
They had welcomed the Empire with open arms and benefited from it. When everything was said and done, They were no longer recognized as a great house and were dismissed from the council.
Ooh. Ouch. So why did the Dunmer hate the Empire?
During the Oblivion Crisis, gates to the Plane of Oblivion opened all over Morrowind. The Empire pulled most of its forces out of Morrowind to deal with the gates in their own homeland, leaving us virtually defenseless. We had no standing army at the time, just uncoordinated pockets of resistance.
How did the Dunmer survive at all?
House Redoran took charge and was slowly able to build an army. It took years, but it became a force to be reckoned with. When the Argonians invaded years later, House Redoran's army was able to prevent them from sweeping across all of Morrowind. It would be fair to say that House Redoran literally saved the Dunmer people from destruction.
What about... you mentioned something about a sorceress earlier.
I maintain a few contacts in other Dunmer settlements across Tamriel. Most hail from House Redoran, but there are a few from other houses.
Why don't you ask them to investigate this matter?
Most of my contacts live leagues away from Solstein. Sending the occasional message back and forth is all we can manage, and sometimes takes months or more to arrive. However, any information we can glean in times like this, I consider vital to House Redoran's survival.
Fair enough. I'll get to looking into this matter then.
Don't worry. You can trust Geldis. He's been with us for a long time.
It's usually the ones that have been with you the longest that turn out to be the biggest traitors. Still, I'm quite surprised at what happened to House Hlaalu. I'm not completely up to date on my lore. Is this the Retching Netch? I wonder if Sodri down here is related to Sodri and Windhelm. Same family, maybe? Hello.
Welcome to the Retching Netch Corner Club, home of the mine's open, people are buying drinks, and I'm making money again. Just like old times.
Alright, you know what? I have to ask. Your inn has a ridiculously unusual name.
There's actually a funny story behind the name, friend. A few years ago, I was walking down by the docks, and I noticed a Dunmer staggering along with a bottle of Sujamma in hand. He was one of my patrons and liked to drink heavily, so I wasn't exactly surprised.
Okay, well, nothing unusual so far.
But you see, this particular Dunmer was as naked as the day he was born, and singing badly at the top of his lungs. As I'm watching this spectacle, a netch floats over the bulwark towards him. The man looks straight up at the netch, yells, "Have a drink," and tosses the bottle. And it never hit the ground.
What did the Netch do?
Well, the bottle broke on the netch, and it must have swallowed its contents because it started floating sort of tilted. Finally, it stopped and began to quiver. A few moments later, the foulest liquid to ever assail your nostrils spewed from its maw. I've seen plenty of drunks in me day, and I'll tell you right now, that netch was sick.
You're complete... Get out of... Leave. Leave. I'm trying to... Thank you. Sorry about that, Sadri. Well, that is quite a story. I get it now.
True story, friend. True story.
Huh. Well, anyway, Adril Arano said you might be able to help me.
Well, Adril's got himself a spy, does he? Azura knows he needs all the help he can get. He's been chasing the Ulins for years now.
Really? You think he's mistaken?
No. I just think he's going about this the wrong way.
Well, you've got a better idea.
Actually, I do. If you want to catch those slippery slaughterfish, you need to let them come to you.
Not a bad idea. But how do you go about doing that?
There's an Ulin ancestral tomb near the temple. Someone's been leaving ash yam offerings on the altar inside. If you were to wait inside for whomever that is, I'm betting they'll have some of the answers you're looking for.
Why haven't you told Adril about this?
What makes you think I haven't? Anytime Adril and the Redoran Guard made a move, The Ulans must have been one step ahead and didn't show up.
Good information. I'll operate on it.
You can thank me if it works. Until then, I'd head to the tomb and wait until your visitor shows up.
Righto. But I might as well ask, why did Councillor Morvain execute an Ulan anyway?
Back in 95, Vila Ulan came to Raven Rock with a plan to take over our town. The Fetcher thought he could stir up the locals and use them against the Redoran Guard, and then murder Councillor Morvain when we weren't looking.
Villier did this alone?
He arrived alone, but spread enough coin around to start changing people's minds. Half the bloody town joined his side. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe it. But how did he get caught?
He underestimated the Redoran Guard. They were organized and brought a swift end to the coup. Vila tried to run, but he was caught by Captain Veleth himself.
Ooh.
Vila Ulan was executed a short time later, and his remains placed in the Ulan ancestral tomb.
Well. I'll ask this as well. Why do Dunmers leave ash yams in their tombs?
When a Dunmer is laid to rest, the body is burned and returned to the ashen soil. Since the ash yam is born of the very same soil, it represents rebirth and renewal, the fact that life ends and begins anew.
Huh. Very, Native American to be able to... Well, whatever. Thanks for the information. I'll be on my way.
Watch yourself out there. Looks like an ash storm might be brewing.
Right. Someone knocked
Hope
a
we
sword
don't run
over?
into too many ash spawn out here.
There's a lot of red eyes staring at me. Never realized how
hello.
creepy it is.
You looking for a handout or something?
No. I'll probably come back to talk to you later, though. Let's get on with this quest. So someone has been... Jeez, this place is in a serious state. What a mess. The Ulan ancestral tomb is... certainly seen better days. Nothing but ash yams in here. I don't know that I could eat food knowing that it was like... it used to be part of someone else. Well, I guess the only thing I have left to do now is, sit. And wait.
I'm glad that I'm finally traveling with someone who seems competent. My last patron was killed trying to tackle an entire fort of bandits alone.
Oh. You're working for the wrong guy, then.
Ah, excuse me. I didn't realize there was anyone else here.
What are you doing here?
I presume the same thing you're doing, leaving an offering for the departed. Forgive my surprise. It's just that I wouldn't expect that sort of behavior from someone who isn't Dunmer.
You aren't an Ulan.
Since there aren't any Ulans left on this island, I've taken it upon myself to leave the traditional offering in their stead.
Tell me why you're really here.
What do you mean? I thought I was clear. I'm simply honoring a fellow departed Dunmer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to meditate a bit.
Well, I think I balls that up. Actually, come to think of it, I should probably be wearing the Mask of Clavix Vile to improve my social skills. Let's talk to this cat once more.
I hope Geldis proved useful. Have you made any progress?
I suspect Silsu Severin is the culprit.
Telesu. Are you sure?
I saw her in the Ulan tomb.
So Geldis's plan worked, eh? Every time we tried it, no one would ever show up.
What's his trade?
If Telesu's involved in any sort of plot to harm Councillor Morvain, I'm going to need hard evidence to prove it.
A good bit of coin
Well,
doing it,
that's a
too.
good point. So, search their house. Simple enough.
I'm not kicking down anyone's door until I have solid evidence in hand. If you're wrong about Telesu, things would quickly go downhill around here, and the real culprits might slip away. I can't afford for that to happen.
Just reasonable. What if they try to stop me?
If you have evidence and it places your life in peril, I would expect you to do whatever you must to keep yourself alive. Here, this key should open the front door of the manor in case they've locked it. Good luck.
Oh, so you want me to break in? Okay, nice how you've just kind of announced that to the entire pub. Can you tell me more about this, Sverin family?
Telesu is wife to the family patriarch Vendel. They have a single child, a daughter named Miri. They arrived here 10 years ago and have been nothing but a benefit to Raven Rock ever since.
Benefit? What have they done?
They're quite wealthy, and they've been quite generous by sharing their fortune with the community. They've contributed coin, food, supplies, even helped repair a few of the buildings in town with their own hands.
Nothing unusual about them at all?
People have mentioned it's a bit odd about how close in age Mary appears to be to her father, but that's hardly a cause for alarm.
Well,
Just make sure you find solid evidence. If I accuse them without it, I'll be the laughing stock of the colony.
well, given that Dunmer lived for how long, you guys don't exactly age at an accelerated rate. Why did the Ulans have a tomb in Raven Rock anyway?
Villa Ulan wasn't the first Ulan to live in Raven Rock. His father, Valen Ulan, was one of the first Dunmer to settle here. Unlike his son, Villa, Valen was a good man. He contributed to the community and was quite respected. When Valen died, his family provided the funds to construct the tomb.
But you told me House Hlalu was disliked.
The Ulan family being a part of House Lalu didn't matter. It's Dunmer's tradition for the ashes of the deceased to be placed in an ancestral tomb. Valen Ulan and his son's remains were both laid to rest there because that's what he'd requested.
Okay.
Be careful. If the Severins have betrayed us, then they'll be well armed.
I'll keep that in mind. Where to next?